Time and time again, I've rambled on about the aggro meta. Brawlers are becoming more powerful, faster, whatever. And to be fair, it's true. Brawlers are becoming more powerful, more mobile, and more aggro. But what's also true is that their counters are actually starting to be meta now. And what's the best example of an aggro counter? Who else but the GOAT himself, Otis. Let's start out with the basics. Otis has solid health at 7200 with a normal movement speed. His main attack sees him shoot 3 projectiles spread out similarly to someone like Max's or 8-bits attacks. The range is 9 tiles and he has a normal reload speed of 1.5 seconds, and each projectile deals 1000 damage. Otis' super sees him shoot a starfish that on hit prevents enemies from attacking for 3 seconds. This has a range of 9 tiles and deals 680 damage per second. Before we start, we need to first talk about his ink refill star power. This star power sees Otis shoot 4 projectiles rather than 3, increasing his damage by 33%. This is an insanely good star power for Otis, and may as well be base kit at this point, giving Otis a huge damage increase that's often really important, as we'll see soon. With the basics and the star power out of the way, let's get to talking more about the beast known as Otis. First of all, his main attack, of course taking ink refills into consideration. Otis' main attack is actually very interesting, especially considering his classification as an aggro counter. First of all, the sheer amount of burst he can deal. Each projectile deals 1000 damage for a total of 4000, if you can hit all your shots, which at a close range is basically guaranteed. This totals to 12,000 damage with 3 ammo, which kills basically any brawler in the game. Seems like a lot of damage for the anti-aggro brawler, right? And that's exactly what separates him from the other anti-aggro brawlers. He is able to counter the damage inflation that's been going on with his own insane damage values. I've mentioned the New Age thrower in the past, or in other words, a thrower with the ability to properly defend against aggro brawlers, even having aggro elements of their own. The same is true with the anti-aggro brawlers, and more specifically Otis. At this point, Otis is honestly played as more of an aggro brawler himself. His ability to burst down at shorter ranges is crazy, as I just said, and this is combined with a relative weakness at longer ranges. Yes, he has a solid range of 9 tiles, but his DPS suffers a lot more at longer ranges than shorter ranges, leading him to prefer the shorter range matchup. It's gotten to the point where the phrase, "if you can't beat them, join them," rings true with Otis, being a menace in his own right. But we haven't even gotten to the best part, Otis' super. It's not a stretch to say that this super is up there with Jean and Terra and some others for the best super in the game. In Brawl Stars, dealing damage is basically everything. I mean, what more is there to say? The whole point of Brawl Stars is dealing damage to your enemies. And Otis just stops that. He prevents enemies from attacking, which is probably the most important ability in the game. Being unable to attack is a huge disadvantage. Suddenly, you become the weakest brawler on the field by far, and a liability to your team. You can't defend yourself or your team, and your only options are either 1. Dodge like your life depended on it, or 2. Run like your life depended on it. And you're going to have to somehow survive for 3 seconds, with everyone in the game knowing you're the easiest person to kill. And this isn't even taking into consideration the 2000 health you also lose when muted. With just how weak you become while muted, it's clear that, well, obviously you don't want to be muted. And of course this leads to what a Jean or Terra who has super also has. Pressure. The pressure that Otis can cause while having super is immense, as directly confronting him, or even getting to an area in which Otis has the opportunity to mute you, is basically a death sentence. This causes people to often have to stay far back or behind walls simply to avoid the sheer threat that Otis' super can have. And there you have it, a brawler made to shut down aggro brawlers, but the only way he can do it is by being an aggro brawler. It's the perfect opportunity to call him a paradox, so I might as well. To be fair, in such an aggro meta, he's basically considered the savior, the lone warrior against the aggro brawlers. And that brings me to my next point, the shutdown meta cycle. See, aggro brawlers, anti-aggro brawlers, and throwers have a sort of balance with each other, like fire, water, and grass in Pokemon. Aggro counters throwers, throwers counter anti-aggro, and anti-aggro counters, well, aggro. However, that balance has been thrown out of shape recently with, of course, the new aggro meta. The aggro brawlers became way too powerful, and therefore throwers became way too weak. With throwers becoming too weak, who was left to counter the anti-aggro brawlers? And with aggro brawlers running amok right now, anti-aggro was more and more in fashion. Not enough to completely counter the aggros, but certain brawlers definitely benefited from this. And one of those brawlers was, of course, Otis. Now, let's talk about Otis's unlockable, starting with his gadgets. Otis's first gadget is Dormant Star, which sees his next super stay on the ground if an enemy is not hit, laying dormant until an enemy is hit, like Belle's gadget. In theory, this is good, but not so much in practice, considering the sheer value of having Otis's super, and the use cases, which is often against aggro brawlers at a short moment's notice. Having a dormant super that can only be activated at the leisure of the opponent isn't exactly ideal for him. Otis' second gadget is Fat Splatter, which sees his next attack shoot a giant ink ball that leaves a puddle, dealing 1250 damage over 3.8 seconds. This is actually a really good gadget, giving actual area control abilities to Otis, allowing him to block off certain areas and get better map control. Now let's talk about Otis's Stencil Glue star power. This sees Otis's super last for 4 seconds rather than 3 seconds. Yes, this is a useful star power, but it comes nowhere close in value with the other star power. Furthermore, you should probably already be able to kill the enemy within 3 seconds, so 4 seconds in most scenarios is just overkill. However, it does have its uses and can help securing kills be much more easier. Finally, his Hypercharge. Otis's Hypercharge sees enemies also get stunned for 1.5 seconds on impact. This is an insanely good Hypercharge as it corrects for the singular weakness of Otis's super, which is that enemies can escape. With a stun, guess what? Enemies can no longer escape. Overall, Otis is one of the most intriguing brawlers in the game. In a meta filled with aggro, it seems like we have one lone defender against them, and it's Otis. Though it's not like Otis is quite balanced either, having insane damage himself, while also having more of an aggro playstyle himself as well. This all has managed to land him in the S tier right now, as one of the best brawlers in the game, even without buffies. And with the constantly increasing aggro and damage based meta, it remains to be seen how that'll affect Otis. As always, if you liked the video, make sure to like and subscribe to help support the channel. If you want to support the content even further, become a member for some special perks, like helping out on videos or choosing PowerPoint brawlers. And finally, watch this video, or check out this playlist, or join the Discord server, or check out my music channel if you like the music in the video.